Hi everyone, my name is Yumei Chang and I'm the founder of Life is Love School, where we teach adult survivors of childhood trauma essential skills to live a healthier, happier life. Today's topic is how to stop over-apologizing for everything and what to do instead. Over-apologizing is where you're apologizing for things that you don't need to apologize for. So before we talk about that, let's clarify when you should apologize. You should apologize for when you do something wrong. If you did some action, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and you hurt somebody's feeling, hurt somebody physically, etc. And that's where the sense of guilt comes from, right? Healthy guilt is when you did something that harmed another person, and then you have this little feeling that's telling you, hey, you did something wrong, and you would try to make amends. It would encourage you to apologize and try to make the other person feel better. That is all healthy and good. But what happens is oftentimes, especially people that grew up with parents that were abusive, that made you feel like you don't deserve to be around, you're taking up too much space, that your job in the world is to serve their needs and their happiness, it can turn a child into a people pleaser as an adult, where this person is very afraid of displeasing anybody. They want to try to make everybody happy, which obviously is not possible, but they try anyways. So then they develop a tendency where they would apologize to everybody. The extreme cases would be somebody bumps into you and it's completely this other person's fault, yet you would also apologize. Your first reaction is, I am sorry. And you also see a lot of times when women would do this, because society tends to condition women to be more generally over apologizing. You will observe that if you start watching for it. Some women would even apologize for the weather not being nice. It's being too hot, it's too cold, it's raining, bad traffic. They would apologize for it as well. Obviously, it's not exclusive to women, but women have a more general tendency to do this because of societal expectations and conditioning. So now that we know what is over apologizing, and if you want to correct this issue, what do you do instead? One of the best ways to combat this is first to recognize what are the areas where you don't need to apologize. So number one area you don't need to apologize for is you don't need to apologize for how you take care of yourself. So that ties into how you use your time. If you want to take a nap, you don't need to apologize that. That's how you want to take care of yourself. That's how you want to use your time. If you want to read a book, if you want to play the piano, if you want to play a video game, if you want to go out with friends, you don't need to apologize for that. These are ways that you choose to use your time. If it's refreshing, it's relaxing, you don't always need to be productive. So you do not need to apologize for doing things to take care of yourself. That's number one. Number two, you don't need to apologize for living your life. A lot of times parents would try to condition you. They would tell you, you should study to become a doctor, you should become a lawyer, you should become an engineer. But if that's not what makes you happy, you do not need to follow their life path. They get to choose how they want to live your life, and so do you. And that applies to any other authority figure that maybe you used to look up to. You are your own person and you have this one life to live. So make sure that you live it the way that you want. Otherwise, you will feel at a certain point in your life that you are living somebody else's dream, and there's that emptiness feeling of, why am I here? And you don't feel authentic. So to the extent that you can, try to make sure that you are living the life that you want to live, because you only get to live it once. The third area that you do not need to apologize for is being who you are. That applies not just to your physical attributes. If you have, small eyes, big nose, small nose, lighter skin, darker skin, your weight, all of these physical attributes, nothing to apologize for. You are the way you are, and that makes you unique. The same applies to your non-physical attributes. If you like being outside, you're an extrovert, you're an introvert, you talk a lot, you don't like to talk, you like more alone time, you don't like alone time, you tell jokes, you don't tell jokes. None of these are things to apologize for either. You don't need to apologize for any aspect of you. And there's nothing wrong with being who you are authentically, because that's your only responsibility, is really to live your life authentically. Obviously, do your best to not harm others. And if you do harm others, apologize, but you don't need to apologize, absolutely, for being who you are. So what do you do instead of apologizing? So instead of apologizing, consider turning it into a gratitude instead. If you observe any customer service representative, oftentimes what they would do is they would express gratitude. So let's say that a customer representative needs to look something up, like an order, in order to get back to you. They will ask you if it's okay to put you on hold for a bit. And when they return, they would say, "Thank you for being so patient." So they're, instead of saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry that it took so long," they're expressing gratitude for your willingness to wait and be patient. So situations where, let's say that you were caught in traffic and you were late to a meeting, that would be a perfect situation where you can say, "Thank you for being so patient. Thank you for waiting." So this is an exercise for you, that next time when you feel compelled to fall into the old habit of saying sorry, first make sure, did you do something wrong? If you did not, that's not a situation for you to apologize. And instead of apologizing, how do you turn it into a sentence that perhaps acknowledges the other person's part in making a harmonious relationship possible? When you say thank you and express gratitude, it makes the other person feel good. And you're also not giving your power away unnecessarily, because if you did nothing wrong, an apology is not the right thing to do. I hope you find today's information helpful, and if you like conversations like this, I encourage you to join me in the Women Only Coaching Program, where we identify areas of healing and we give you very specific recommendations and exercises so that you could practice. And it's really the practice that makes perfect. As a group, we practice together as well, so it's a very supportive community. I hope to see you there. In the meantime, have a wonderful week.